Well, I think 100 days is definitely way too early to sum him up. But I have to say, I was disappointed with the Syria bombing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm disappointed with a couple of the things he said, and I mean, it definitely looks like, Kushner is controlling him a little more than I would like, and Ivanka is definitely coming out as much more feminist than I think that she presented herself to be during the campaign, and I was worried about that because she is a working mom, but then she does have 3 kids, so I thought, well, maybe she's not too, maybe she's a working mom because she's good at it, and it supports her family, but maybe she's not so feminist. But it looks like now like she is quite feminist in her beliefs, and then he's obviously giving her a lot of voice in his presidency. So I don't love what I've seen the first 100 days, but I always try to be optimistic about everything, and also be optimistic about Trump as well. But so far I'm disappointed.
Yeah, I have the same feeling. I'm going to give him time. I'm trying to be optimistic. And then when he said "Make America Great Again," a lot of people felt "Make America White Again." He's kind of appealing to that image we have of the 50s and the 60s. So
yes,
I felt he was sincere in that, but maybe he's controlled by the forces around him. A president has limited power. There's such new older forces over the president. Maybe he's doing what he can. So.
Well, I think that he's definitely, he's obviously a civic nationalist. He's not a white nationalist. But I think that civic nationalism can work really well in combination with white nationalism, particularly if a civic nationalist is advocating a system based on meritocracy. Because if we have a system based on meritocracy, that is a system that benefits white people in general. That doesn't mean that somebody like a Ben Carson or somebody else can't rise to the top. If they have the skills, then they will rise to the top. But it is overwhelmingly going to benefit white people, and so that in its way is very it's very beneficial to white nationalism. So I'm fine with civic nationalism as long as they're doing that. So far, it doesn't look like Trump is doing that, although again it's way too early to tell. But I'm really disappointed with his amnesty and talking about bringing in Venezuelans and things like that, and not because of the racial factor, but also because Venezuela obviously is kind of like, I look at it like the California of the world, right? They tried all this socialist policy, they completely collapsed themselves. They're like dying in the streets, and I feel horrible for them, but they have to fix themselves. They can't just come here to America because they'll enact the same policies, and that's what Californians do when they go to Utah or when they go to Texas. They ruined California with their socialist policies, and then they come to Utah or they come to Texas and they want to implement the same degeneracy and the same socialism that killed California in those places. And it's like, that's exactly what will happen if you bring a bunch of Venezuelans over here. They're not, there is no magic dirt in America. They're not suddenly going to become not socialist. And it doesn't matter how many times socialism and communism fails, people just seem to be tribal about it. They either want a very communal-based, socialist communist system, or they want to be very independent. White people, we love to be independent. We're the Vikings that have the farm, and we want to milk our own goat, and then we want people to leave us alone. We're like, hey, I've got my land and my farm and my family, and just leave me alone. But other populations aren't like that. Asians aren't like that. Latinos are not like that, and you're not going to change that about them. They can't come to America and then suddenly want to be libertarians. It's not going to work.
Yeah, they don't just become Americans by coming to America. Do you want to talk about IQ differences between the different races and how that affects civilization?
Sure, definitely. Well, IQ is genetic. It's all but proven. I have a friend right now who is in biology over at the university. She's a biology major, and her professor this past fall semester said, look, we haven't 100% proof that IQ is genetic, but it has all the markers of being genetic, especially with the bell curve and all of that. The scientific community is erring on the side that IQ is genetic, and you can move it a point or so in either direction via malnutrition or education, but overall you're kind of where you're at genetically.
Yeah.
And populations have genetic IQs. Yeah. And so you have to really, to have that independent mindset, that Viking mindset I was just talking about, where you want, your farm and you want to grow your own potatoes and milk your own goat and be left alone. You really have to have an IQ of like at least 90,
Yeah.
but more like around 100 or higher, to have a population that's independent like that. So libertarianism, that kind of like libertarian belief, that can only exist in a population that has an average IQ of at least over 90, but more preferably towards 100. Once you get down into the 80s, people can't function that well independently. And I like to frame it like, most people have seen the movie Forrest Gump. So
Yeah.
Forrest Gump had an IQ of 74 in that movie, right? Or 76.
Is that right?
Yeah, like
I
mid
didn't know
70s.
that.
So that's kind of an example. Like, he could go to public school with the other kids, but like he was definitely not super well functional.
Yeah.
And not very independent. He required a lot of additional care throughout his entire life. So if we think about that, and then we go and we say, okay, this population has an IQ of 80, then you're talking just a few points higher than Forrest Gump. And that doesn't have to speak to their value or worth as people. Certainly our value and worth as people doesn't come from how smart we are, but it does speak that they are not going to be independent. They're going to they need a lot of control. They need a system where the smarter people are at the top and the smarter people tell them what to do.
Yeah, got
That's the only way that their society works, right?
I think of Africa, like the white people built all these nations in Africa, put in the infrastructure to there, like South Africa, and then it comes to the black people in Africa.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, and that's just, unfortunately, that's another the issue though is a lot of times blacks do suffer under white ownership, in that they don't understand the system, they can't do as well in that system when whites are in control or own their countries, and it